Is that
city.
always the story?
From my understanding, it's like a city lost to the ocean.
Oh, I
It's like
see.
yeah, but
I didn't
usually
know
it's
that.
like it's all abandoned. But I guess this one they evolved or adapted. They
Yeah.
adapted, improvised, and overcame.
What
Something
was that?
funny? That Bear Grylls meme, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay. You know what I'm like with memes.
Yeah, true.
Welcome back to Can't Believe You Haven't Seen, the podcast where two friends introduce each other to something brand new that they've never seen before, that we've never seen before. It can be anything from a movie, it's usually films,
Yeah.
but it could be a TV show or anything like that really. I am Daniel.
And I am Daniel.
And we're back after a week. I'm sure you missed us.
Absolutely. I missed us.
Me too. Hey man. COVID, am I right?
COVID's a bitch.
And this week, Daniel, is the beginning, it's the start of a trilogy.
Oh.
And you might be thinking, well, hold on a second, Daniel. There's only one Aquaman film.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, shut up, because that's not what I'm talking about.
Ah, you got me.
The next few weeks, Daniel, I will be recommending things, right, that is going to make up a trilogy of things, and it's a trilogy of my guilty pleasure films.
Okay. So bad
And
films that you enjoy, basically.
Well, I don't think they're bad.
Okay. Well.
But, so, this week, I've already given it away. I can't believe you haven't seen Aquaman.
Yeah,
From
I have, yeah.
2018. Sounds like you loved it.
Well, no, if you're calling it a guilty pleasure film because it's a bad film that you enjoy, which you didn't agree with that description, but I would give it that description because I feel like it's quite
Well, to be fair,
bad.
actually, yeah, it does a lot of pretty bad stuff.
But yeah, it was enjoyable. Bad,
But
enjoyable.
it's a very special film to me.
Why's
Because, well, I'm glad you asked. Because the last episode, when I was like recommending this to you, I was giving it like this real big build up, and then you never really said anything about it, and I was quite upset.
Sorry.
Because I was saying how like it changed me as a person, and you were just like, "Oh yeah, cool." But because
How did this change you as a person?
well, we've talked a couple of times on this podcast about how, well, mostly you actually, about our time spent at university.
Yes.
And we both did the same course. We went to the same place, but at separate times.
Yeah. And both dropped out after almost a year.
Yes, we both had different but similarly negative experiences.
Yeah.
And I was having a particularly hard time. I'm not sure if when I'd watched this, because I bought the Blu-ray, but I'd like never seen it before, so I bought it, and then I just didn't watch it for a while. And I'm not sure if I'd already dropped out of uni at this point, but wherever it was, I still felt exhausted after like my weeks of like not sleeping and just having a miserable time. So
Love
I
that.
thought, what better way to take my mind off this horrible film production course than to watch a film? So I decided to put on Aquaman, and I had a great time. And like it just made me so happy, and it genuinely brought me out of like feeling pretty goddamn miserable. So the
Wow.
way it changed me was like, well, you know what? Any film can be anybody's favourite film, because you don't know what films do for people, you know?
Yeah.
This stupid film it made my week when I watched it for the first time, and that's why it's
Wow.
very special to me.
Well, I didn't know that. Fair enough.
So, but I suppose we'll just get into it.
Okay.
What
Sounds
are
good.
your initial overall thoughts about it?
Overall, well, I mean, I pretty much already said. I think there's some parts of it that are actually, pretty impressive in terms of like, the CGI and stuff. Some of it is really good. Some of it's really bad. But I think mostly it's, pretty impressive. Yeah. Overall, it's not an incredibly well-made film, but it is enjoyable enough. I wouldn't put it in my, top 10 favorite films. Didn't change me as a person. uh,
Well,
it was alright.
yeah, I can definitely. Somehow, it both looked to me like the most expensive and the cheapest film ever made.
Yeah. It's very inconsistent with that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's got a lot of spectacle, an awful lot of, I don't know. It's very cliched, but at the same time, I love it for that. But we'll get into all that. I suppose we'll just go through it bit by bit.
Good idea.
I'll be honest, I didn't make an awful lot of notes. I kind of just stopped at one point, and then that's it. So we'll see how we get on.
I kind of did the same, not gonna lie.
The first note I made, and I'm not sure, I was thinking if you would notice this or not, because you're not very good usually when it comes to recognising actors, I don't think.
No.
But Django Fett
No.
is his dad.
Cool, I guess. No,
Yeah.
I didn't realise. But
Yeah,
I feel
he
like
had some.
I recognised him from somewhere, so that's it.
It was from Star Wars.
Wow.
He had some pretty weird de-aging on him to begin with. I'm not sure if you noticed that. His face looked real rubbery to begin with.
I didn't notice that. No.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, we have that whole prologue where his mom and his dad meet. It's pretty.
Kind of alright.
Yeah, it was. There's that weird bit where it starts. Not a pop song, but a song starts playing, and it's like kind of this cutesy montage.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of nice. It was not like a conventional opening to like a superhero film. which you can
No,
appreciate.
it was quite fairy tale, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then it escalates very quickly. Because those people just break into the house.
Those terrible, like, they looked
Is
awful.
it the one?
The
Is
white
it the
guys.
ones with like the big chunky white costumes?
Yeah,
Real plasticky looking.
That was literally my first note. White soldier dude looks cheap and bad.
Yeah. But and then we kind of get our first taste of the action, and it's kind of shot in that way where it's like the single camera move almost, and it's very quickly going round.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Did you think it got a bit old at any point? Like it was like, oh, this trick again.
I think it kind of did, because I feel like if they're doing that, you shouldn't be thinking about how they're doing that, but you like, it's doing it, and then at first you're like, yeah, this is cool scene, and then you realize that it's all one shot, and then it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's all one shot. It isn't really. They could have filmed it in different shots; it would have been the same. But yeah, still cool though.
And so yeah, then we've got the setup for obviously his mother being taken back to Atlantis, and she's a queen, and when we think she's dead,
Do
this is
Do you really think
well.
she's dead?
Well, I was about to ask you that. Did you think she was dead?
No.
No.
I thought
I can't remember.
Pretty obvious that she'd come back.
Yeah, I think I probably agree with you. I mean, I already knew it because I'd seen it, but yeah. So pretty sad how he just goes out onto that pier every day and just waits for her.
It's a bit needy, isn't it?
Get a life, man.
How long has it been? And he's still doing that.
It's been like, I don't know. It must have been like 30 years,
Yeah.
surely, at least.
I mean, it's nice and romantic, but there's a point. I feel like after 10 years, he'd be like, yeah, she's not coming back.
I've just reminded myself because I was thinking of the well, before we get the AQUAMAN title card, which is made up of all those little fishies.
Yeah.
There's a bit beforehand where they're at the aquarium or something, like with his school when he's a kid.
Yeah.
And
he controls the shark, or he
he's talking to the shark.
calms the
basically.
shark. Yeah.
Yeah. It just it made me laugh because this film was directed by James Wan, who did the Saw films and the Conjuring films. Well, he did the first Saw.
Oh.
So like he did the Conjuring, he did Insidious, so he's a horror guy.
Yeah.
But he's either Australian or New Zealand done.
New Zealish.
Yes, and it just stood out to me because I'm not sure if you noticed this, but so many of like the minor actors in this were clearly like Australians or New Zealanders, like putting on American accents, like especially these kids at the beginning at the aquarium, like when they go to pick on Arthur, it's like, look at Arthur, he's talking to the fish. And it was like really, really noticeable to me.
Yeah, I did notice their accents being not great, but I didn't realize he was Australian.
Like when he's talking to the shark, he's like, "I'm Arthur, and I like you, shark." And like then they'd suddenly like remember that they're supposed to be doing different accents.
Hey, they're only kids.
Yeah, but fuck them, you know.
Well.
So anyway, but I want to point out here,
Yes.
as I always do, and you always say, "Oh, I didn't really notice it." The music.
I made an effort to try and notice the music more, because I know I've been saying that I haven't noticed the music for a lot of these films.
And to be honest, I would have forgiven you on this one because I feel like I'm the only person that's ever mentioned that they like the Aquaman soundtrack. But I love Arthur's like hero theme, and I just want to. I mean, I'll have to cut this out, but I just want to play it for you because I want you to enjoy it.
Well,
as much as I like
I
it.
do remember thinking that I liked that at least. So I liked it.
Oh, you
again.
do? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So I yeah, that honestly hearing that, it makes me want to get up and cheer. I love the music.
I like that one piece, but I feel like the rest of it was kind of just generic-y, like superhero shit.
Nah.
Nothing special.
A lot of it was quite funky. There's a lot of like synth and techno in it.
Doesn't make it good.
So once we've kind of got on with the prologue stuff, we're introduced to the Black Manta character. He's not the Black Manta yet, but his guy and like this whole pirate crew with his dad.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. How we get to see how the antagonist like formed. You know, he's formed right at the beginning of the film. You don't think he's going to be the antagonist, but then you know. Like, you don't normally see that, do you? You don't normally see the moment that makes the bad guy want to be bad. Does that make sense? No.
Don't you?
Or, no, like, in terms of, like, a rivalry, you don't see, like, the start of a rivalry between the bad guy and the good guy. But I felt like this set that up pretty nicely.
Okay, I mean, yeah. It's also a nice... You know, it starts us off on what Arthur's arc will be as well. Obviously, he leaves that guy to die. Well, it leaves them both to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. You know, pretty standard. I mean, you can see it sort of as soon as that happens. You can see, okay, well, by the end of the film, he's gonna not do that. But you know, it's still, you know, an arc nonetheless, and I think it's quite well defined throughout the film, and it's just nice to see him learn to be a hero.
Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like they deserve to be left because they were the bad guys.
Well, but that's not what a hero does, Daniel.
I don't care.
Fair enough.
They just tried to kill him, so...
I thought it was weird as well during this scene, because obviously they've, like, stormed this... Is it a submarine they're on? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've, like, taken hostages or whatever. They're doing whatever they're doing. And then they have, like, just this random father-son moment where it's like, this knife was your grandfather's, and I want you to have this knife because I love you. And like they're just sharing this moment when like people are running around with guns and like
a
bit random. But what do you think of Jason Momoa as Aquaman?
I think he's pretty badass. I think he's pretty cool.
I like him. He's very charismatic.
He's a very rough around the edges kind of guy, which
that's why you like him.
Yeah, I think it's nice to not see like a perfect, like, you know, another perfect person. He's the sort of like, you know, rugged. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Sexy.
Well,
no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, he's just badass in like an old school badass kind of sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but so he deals with the there's that real cringe line I've just remembered where the Black Manta character says to like one of the people aboard the submarine or someone is like...
I wrote it down. I think I know what you're on about.
Go on.
I think it's a man. An Aquaman.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
No.
That's not what I did not hear anybody say anything like that.
Yeah, they definitely did, because I thought, Jesus.
That's crazy. Okay, no, I'm talking about how he just says to like one of the submarine crews, like, I don't tell you how to like run a submarine, so you don't tell me how to pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dialogue in this film is not great.
No. But saying that, I think there are quite a few like decent funny moments. Like there were no points that I really cringed apart from I think it's a man and Aquaman.
Well, I don't think anything made me really cringe. I think it was just like, Jesus. Like that,
Yeah.
bit eye-rolly. I think that's as far as it went for me.
Yeah. I feel like most of the jokes for me landed pretty well. So.
Fair enough. Did the one land where a bit later on in that bar you think he's about to get roughed up by some guys,
Yeah.
but then he pulls out a pink phone?
Yeah. I like that.
That was a bit much for me. Like, why did his phone have to be pink? Like,
he's soft on the inside. I thought that was nice.
I do like seeing in this film kind of like the father-son dynamic. It's just nice to see them getting along, having fun together, because usually superheroes are so sad when it comes to like their parents and stuff. It's like usually one is
usually dead. Yeah.
And like, to be fair, he thinks one is dead, but at least he has a nice relationship with his dad. You know, it's just nice to see.
Yeah.
And then I think after that we first see some underwater stuff, but it's not.
Can we just go back one sec?
Of course we can.
So you know when he's walking in that really, really like tight corridor, like when he's first get to the submarine, and there's people standing there, like probably 5 feet away from him, like shooting at him and missing. That kind of pissed me off a little bit. Not pissed me off, but I was like, come on, really?
Were they missing? I mean, there were bullets bouncing off him.
Were they?
Yeah.
Were there?
Because I remember seeing it and thinking, I don't think Aquaman is usually bulletproof. That was my nerd brain going. But he is in this. Yeah, the bullets were pinging off him.
I didn't even see that. I thought they were just missing.
No.
Okay, well that clears that up.
But we have our foot. Sorry. Yes.
Sorry. One more thing in that submarine. I don't know if you saw this, but he walks through some smoke at one point when he's like, towards the end of that scene when he's fighting the bad guy. He walks through some smoke in the really like choppy slow motion. That just looked dreadful.
And
I
there's
don't know what
like
they were thinking about putting that in.
And they did that little guitar riff as well, like it goes like bow now now.
Yeah. So cheesy.
Oh, I love this film.
Not sure why.
But we have our first bit of underwater stuff. It's not quite all the Atlantis stuff yet, like they're kind of saving that for a bit later. But we're introduced to Orm, the villain, like his half brother, some other dudes. Do you think in general the underwater stuff looks alright?
Mostly, yes.
Just when they're swimming about and stuff.
Well, yeah, I feel like the actual environment looks great, but the characters, specifically their hair, when it's not like tied down, like slicked back.
Yeah.
Looks terrible. It looked like the hair was separate to the people.
Yeah, well, all the hair, all the flowy hair is just CG.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
Yeah.
I felt like they should have all had slicked back hair, or it's just something better. They should have just made it look better.
Why didn't they just make a better film?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that whole staged attack with the submarine where it's like, oh, the surface world wants to kill us, or something, even though they don't know we exist.
Yeah.
So this, by the way, is where my notes have ended. So
oh wow, already.
I have one more note, which is like for something random later on in the film, and that's it. So
jeez, you were just enjoying it that much, you just
hell yeah, man.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so his whole thing is that he wants to become ocean master so he can have all these underwater armies to take the surface world, I guess.
Yeah.
Solid motivation, I think.
Is it?
Well, I mean, as far as villains go, why not?
I can't remember why he particularly.
Because
just power, I guess.
Screw those land people,
Yeah.
Because
we are kind of dicks,
separate. and it's just that whole thing, isn't it, where it's like it's us and them, like we need to. In fact, I was having kind of Man of Steel flashbacks towards the end of the film, because his mum starts saying to Arthur, she's all like, you can unite the two people, and like we're having all of that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we've got like the whole like tsunami bit results in all the kind of waste being washed up on the beaches and stuff, which I suppose that's why they're upset.
The bit where the woman saves the dad, or am I jumping ahead?
Yeah. All of that stuff.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
What do you think of Mera?
Of Mera?
Mera. Yeah, the woman. Mera.
Well, I mean, I think I can't be nice about this character considering what you just told me off camera.
I mean,
actress.
You can separate art from real life,
Yeah, I liked her. I felt like they had a good thing going.
That's interesting.
Do you not like her?
No, well, I think one of the many criticisms of this film, but one that I hear quite a lot, is that people don't think they have much chemistry together, or that they're not.
Oh.
You don't buy the fact that they're like fall in love or whatever.
I bought that.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah. I feel like they were good together.
Yeah, I mean, and she as a character
I shipped them.
You did.
Yeah.
Great.
So, yeah.
Oh, is that a pun?
Yes. Yeah, that's how I meant it.
Yeah, I think she's fine. She's not the most exciting character, but she does. She serves her purpose.
Yeah.
She's there to be all like, "Hey, you should come and be an Aquaman." And he's like, "I don't want to be an Aquaman. I just want to." Well, he doesn't want to be king, is what his thing is. So like, he's happy to go around saving people off submarines, but he doesn't want to be king. That's the.
Which is fair enough. I get that. I wouldn't want to be king.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Especially if you're underwater.
Hey.
So yeah, but then he goes along with her anyway. I can't quite remember the reason why he does, because he's like, no, I don't want to, but I guess I will.
I think she's like, you can just save these people and then not be king or something like that.
Oh yeah. So, what did you think of the? Because, to be honest, as I was watching it, I kind of forgot that it was even like a comic book film. Like, it's very cliched in the way that it is, but at the same time, it didn't feel like a standard comic book film to me. Like, it felt just more of like an adventure kind of fantasy type film, personally.
Well, have you read the comics?
I haven't read many Aquaman comics, no.
No, me neither, obviously. I don't really know what you mean by like a comic book film, because I feel like you mean just a superhero film. Yeah. I feel like it have any conventional superpowers, but still feels like he doesn't feel like a superhero, but it feels like a superhero film, I would say.
Okay.
In the way that it's presented, like with the action is very much like that genre. The music.
Okay. But I enjoyed kind of all like the globe trotting aspects, like, that's what I mean when it like kind of feels more like an adventure to me, rather than like your Indiana Jones type films,
But it felt too far out of reality to be an adventure. Because when I think adventure, I think that, grounded, or not grounded, but like Indiana Jones, like set in some form of reality. Whereas these guys are like fish.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
yeah.
When we go to Atlantis for the first time, and I don't want to sound over the top or cheesy in any way, but I genuinely find it quite magical. Especially the first time I watched it, like when because it's just so colourful and so kind of beautiful, and like when they first go there, there's that bridge for some reason that leads like into Atlantis, so it's kind of behind a wall, and like seeing that, and it genuinely like reminded me of like Star Wars. Like I was like
gonna say that.
I feel like I've been transported to like a different world. Like I genuinely love how Atlantis like looks, and yeah, I just thought it was really something when you go there for the first time, and then when you eventually do cross over to the other side and see, yeah, I thought really magnificent.
Yeah, I thought it looked great. And going back to what I said earlier, like the environments in this film, like they look really great. The CGI in them is incredible. Just the minor details that let it down a lot of the time.
So where do you think do you think any of like the CGI fails, or do you think
Well,
it looks bad in other aspects of the production, like the costumes and stuff?
no, the costumes are fine. I just
Oh, but what about the white boys?
well, true, they look bad. No, it felt very inconsistent. Like, well, the environments were consistent, but the stuff like the hair
Oh yeah,
and yeah, some of the costumes, some of the stuff didn't make sense. Like jumping forward a bit. I mean, you can just kind of forget about it. But like they have like a lava underwater, which I was not a fan of. They have like a ring of lava, when
yeah.
they're about to duel. I was just like, nah, I can't suspend my disbelief
Oh,
of
I
what.
was fine with all that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know. But I feel like the actual CGI on the most part is good.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I. It really looks like they just threw all the money at this, which is surprising to me because it's Aquaman.
But
This
they're
film,
trying to build their own little cinematic universe, I guess, aren't they?
well, yeah, but this film, I mean, it worked out because this film made over $1 billion.
Jeez.
This film made more money than Batman v Superman.
But it's
How does that?
Aquaman.
How does that happen?
I should be more descriptive with my notes because they're not very helpful. But I remember at some point there were some people in suits. Oh yeah, yeah. When when they go to that shipwreck that is like an air bubble.
Yes.
First off, that was pretty cool. I like that idea. But also the people that go and that they fight there, the red people in the red suits, kind of look
Yeah.
like Iron Man. It's not a criticism, but
I thought they looked like Power Rangers.
no, I just thought they all looked like Iron Man because their suits were kind of red and goldish.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I also remember them not looking great, so
No.
bit too thick, too suits.
I'm remembering. I can't remember when these, but like we have some flashbacks to when he's training with Willem Dafoe.
Not good.
Not good.
Terrible.
Well, no. I kind of liked the first one where he's like a little boy and he takes him underwater and like he's explaining like his powers, and there's that nice moment where it's like your eyes will adjust and then it suddenly becomes a lot more colourful. And there's a real bad one, I think, when he's like,
Well, they're all real
okay,
bad.
but especially when he's at like, his oldest. I think he's meant to be well, he's a teenager, and that's when he finds out his mum is dead, supposedly.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
acting from the guy that's is awful. he's like, are you serious? Like, he's doing all this crazy stuff. It's just awful.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree at all. I don't think they needed any of those flashbacks. Maybe the first flashback would have been fine, and then they have him telling the kid about the mother at the end. Just one flashback, get it all out of the
Yeah,
way.
I'm not sure if we'd really miss them if they were gone.
Well, yeah, true. I was just gonna say, just to so this makes sense. After that flashback, you have the ring of lava
I
underwater
was just about to
that I
bring
complained
that
about.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
Not good.
You didn't even like the fight
What?
or anything?
No, that was good. I'm just being
Oh.
nitpicky. It's not SpongeBob, they're not making a joke about how there's fire underwater. And it's just like,
Oh, I see. I was like,
Just
I didn't know where you were going with that. I was just gonna be like, yeah, it's not SpongeBob.
Only SpongeBob is allowed fire underwater. It's a well-known fact.
Okay, well. So after that fight, they kind of get going anyway. They escape.
Wait, we're just skipping over the fight?
Do you have anything to say about it?
Not really. It's cool. I wrote down here, underwater fight. Very cool.
Thank you for your input.
You're welcome. Oh my. Sorry.
No?
Okay. Well, no, because I'll say this once you've said your thing.
Well, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they escape, and that's when we sort of start globe-trotting a bit. And we go
Yeah,
to
and
which desert is it?
The terrible green screen
Oh, was
desert.
it?
Oh my god, it was
Oh,
dreadful.
okay. What desert was it?
That's like the worst piece of CGI in the film, I think, when they're walking up the sand, I guess you could call it. They just looked completely out of place, like they were like lit wrong. They just stood out real bad. And I'm
Really? I
surprised
didn't
you
even
didn't. You
notice.
don't. Oh.
Perhaps I was too distracted by the Pitbull song that plays when there's that. It suddenly very weirdly transitions to being like a music video when they come out of the water and they're like both like glistening and like very strange.
Yeah, but it clearly didn't take itself too seriously, so I felt like
Oh no, I
it was
like
fine.
it.
Yeah.
I want it to be known that every time perhaps it sounds like I'm being negative, I'm actually loving it.
Right.
Apart from when
Okay.
I say it's bad.
Yeah.
Um,
So you agree that it's bad?
What? No, certain aspects.
Sure.
Overall, fantastic film. So they find that thing. Oh no, they have that thing, which is like a hologram,
Pardon me.
but it's like a water hologram or something,
What?
and they play it
Oh yeah.
of the king.
Yeah.
It's that bit where she needs water, so she takes his sweat, and then he's like, should have just peed on it.
Yeah.
Good one. Was that
Uh,
a joke that made you laugh?
Yeah. They pretty much all made me laugh. Especially the one where like she plays the whole thing and then he's like, "You memorize that?" Because I definitely wouldn't have memorized that if I was in his position.
No, I think that's the joke.
Yeah. I'm just saying it worked. I found it funny.
So it's basically just go get the trident. You
Yeah.
need this trident. So then that's when
They really can't believe they copied Minecraft. The trident.
I don't.
Well, there are tridents in Minecraft, so that's the joke.
Nice.
Thank you.
Wait, the joke is that there's tridents in Minecraft. That's the extent of the joke.
Yeah. Only bangers from me.
Do you think Minecraft invented tridents?
Yeah, obviously.
So then that leads us into, what country are they in? I forget.
I don't
but
know.
it looked like Greece or something. But they're in the desert. Did they go somewhere else? I don't remember. But then they have like a cutesy montage together where they're like falling in love.
That's fun. Fun times.
You didn't mind that?
I mean, it wasn't great.
It's like a song that's playing and they're like looking at each other and
Very
falling in
cheesy.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is where my one and only other note came in,
Oh wow.
because I was just really confused. So she does that little trick Mera does, like with the fountain. She makes like a little dolphin come out and stuff, and there's like a little girl there, and she's like, "Oh, a dolphin!" And then, just as a response, for some reason, that little girl runs off, and she comes back with a book of Pinocchio.
Yeah.
And and gives it to her. And I just thought that was really weird.
I didn't understand
what?
that at all.
And like it literally only happened so she could be all like, "Hey, that thing you did earlier, you copied out of a book." Because he says earlier when they hide in the mouth of a whale, he's like, well, "Pinocchio did it."
Yeah.
So it was just a really clunky way of like,
One of the only poor jokes in the film.
oh, poor. Is that a pun?
Sure, if it works.
Because you pour water.
Yeah.
But that leads us into a pretty cool action sequence, I think, from what I can remember,
Yeah, it was cool, but
in the town.
yeah, what's his name? Black Man.
Manta.
The Black Lantern.
Manta.
What? Manta.
Black Manta.
Manta. Okay, I wrote down Black Lantern. I thought he looked really dumb.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Well, that's what he looks like in the comic. Not exactly, but I mean, it's close enough. But they kind of modernized it for this and like updated it to make him look a bit more. But it still looked really stupid. Like his helmet is just so massive.
Yeah. Didn't look good.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun scene. There's that like one bit where there's like the camera is following one of those chunky white dudes,
Mm.
and he's like, just like busting through all these doors and stuff. Like, just a
didn't
cool
know
action
that.
sequence. Oh well, it happened.
I like the bit when they go into that woman's house They ruin that woman's livelihood, everything she's built up in her life in one foul swoop.
She didn't mind though.
No, for some reason.
That's honestly one of my least favourite tropes in like anything. Just like cutting to like random extras like during action and have them do funny little reactions. Like, get that out of here.
Yeah.
But
it's okay in this film, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not an awful lot, really. I mean, a lot does happen, but nothing like too noteworthy for me, really. Like between now and the sort of ending.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this note. I found this pretty funny. I can't remember exactly what happened, but he headbutted some bell. Made me laugh out loud.
What?
Okay, I hope by me saying that would make you remember, but I think Aquaman headbutted a bell in that village.
What? Accidentally?
No, I think on purpose. He was just like,
Oh, you're right. That's hilarious. But
yeah. She used. Sorry, in that action scene, the female woman smashed loads of wine bottles and used them as like spikes.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Because it was like, you think about, they have these water powers. You think of water, but there are other liquids out there, such as wine.
Well, I imagine she was. It doesn't matter. But I feel like she was the only one that could do that. That was the impression I got.
Do what?
That had that power.
Specifically, wine.
To like manipulate water. No, not to manipulate water like that.
Oh.
Because no one else ever does it.
Probably a fair comment. I don't know.
Thank you. But they get away, and they're traveling on a boat. She stole a boat. Funny.
Yeah.
Funny bit.
It was funny, but it's also kind of didn't make sense.
Oh, here's something. This is like earlier, but I'm just remembering. It may have been during the message from the king or whatever, or just at some other point. But we get a little bit of backstory of Atlantis.
Yes.
And I was just surprised because it hasn't always been like an underwater city. Like it was on the surface and they had all this wonderful technology and stuff, and then for whatever reason they went underwater and they evolved to live underwater. I thought that was just
weird. Well, isn't that the whole point of Atlantis? It's like a lost
Is that
city.
Always the story?
From my understanding, it's like a city lost to the ocean.
Oh,
it's
I
like,
see.
Yeah. But usually it's like it's all abandoned, but I guess this one they evolved or adapted. They adapted, improvised, and overcame.
What was
funny? That Bear Grylls meme, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay. You know what I'm like with memes.
Yeah, true.
Alright, fair enough then. I guess I'm just big dum-dum. So when they're on the boat, they encounter the creatures from the trench.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? The trench.
The trench.
That's
Jog
what it's
my memory.
called. That's where all those creepy creatures are from. That's just what that particular place is called. The trench.
The trench.
They start attacking the boat. People often point towards this as being the best scene in the film, so
I can't remember that.
The boat gets attacked by some creepy creatures. That's all that really happens.
Okay.
It's fine. It's pretty creepy.
I don't know. I must have blacked out at that point. I don't remember that at all.
You're too scared.
Yeah. They wiped my memory.
Fair enough. But then they end up like falling to like the bottom of the ocean, and then they pop out somewhere else. It's like they transport to a different world almost, and that's where they find his mum.
Yeah.
And she's wearing this pretty crazy outfit.
Is she?
Yeah.
What's crazy about it?
It's just pretty gross looking.
Okay.
She must have made it out of like dead fish and stuff. And then she's got like all these spikes on her like shoulder, and when her and Arthur embrace again for the first time in so many years, she's like poking him in the face with these spikes. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was a nice moment. Them seeing each other again.
No one. But then, of course, that leads him to talking to that big snake thing. Was it a snake? No, it wasn't a snake. It was like a
Eel.
eel thing. Was it an eel, though? I seem to
Yeah,
remember
like
it
a
having
water
like
eel.
claws or something. Did it have claws?
Yeah, it was a water eel with claws.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was pretty cool.
Voiced by Mary Poppins.
Okay.
That's not a joke. That was
Mary Poppins voiced.
yeah.
It's an actress called Mary Poppins.
No. the
Well, you said it's not a joke, so...
well, yeah, the original actress that played Mary Poppins, like back in
Right.
the '60s, Julie
Okay.
Andrews, voiced her for some reason.
Never seen it. I almost said I've never seen Julie Andrews. I haven't, but I meant to say I've never seen Mary Poppins. So, can you believe that?
Yes.
Okay.
So he gets the trident. He does that whole bit where he's like, she's all like, "Ah, people have tried and you'd suck. Like you're a half breed. Like you're never gonna get this trident, mate.
Hmm.
Better people than you have tried." And he's all like, "Hey, I know I suck, so that's why you should give me the trident, maybe." Like,
It takes a big man to accept that they suck.
and she's like, "Oh man, you're right." Well, no, that's not exactly true. He starts doing his like fish talky powers on her, and he's like, "Well, you can understand what I'm saying."
Yeah.
So,
I think. Are you criticizing that?
No.
The part that no. Okay.
Daniel, I would never criticize this film.
This perfect, flawless piece of cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I thought it was quite nice that whole interaction they had with each other. To be
Yeah.
honest.
It's cool, man.
It felt
I
like,
it.
if that hadn't happened, his whole like speaking to fish powers wouldn't have, would have been pretty pointless.
Yeah.
Because what are we really going to talk about with fish?
And it's nice that it did actually serve a purpose, because it's always just a punchline in like any form of media. Whenever Aquaman gets brought up, it's like, "Oh, he can talk to fish," and like
Yeah.
it's like people just make fun of it. So it's nice that it actually did serve a function. And then he comes out looking all sexy in his costume, comes out of that waterfall, and I just appreciate the fact that they just do the classic costume from the comic book, just orange and green.
Where
That's Aquaman.
I was a bit confused. Where did he get that costume?
Off the corpse of the king.
Oh,
He stole his outfit.
that's gross.
I know. But I like that because, like, in the other things that Aquaman has popped up in, like Batman v Superman and Justice League, like, they didn't really do it. They gave him something different. But in this one, they were just like, nope, we're gonna do the ridiculous costume from the comics.
Well,
So
this is the first instance of him in that universe, isn't it? Or like, in terms of the order of the films being released.
no,
No?
no,
Justice League come out before?
yes,
Really?
mm-hmm.
Okay. Well. He's in Batman vs Superman, did you say?
For like 2 seconds.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I don't remember him being in that.
Yeah, it's a pretty awkward cameo. It's, if you ever watch it again, it's pretty awkward.
I'll look it up after this.
Okay. So yeah, and then that just leads us into the end fight then, which just full of spectacle.
Oh yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Don't have
I
an
must just
awful lot to
that
say about it,
nothing groundbreaking in it. It's just like a actiony underwater fight scene.
Yeah. I like their like duel at the end on top of that whatever it was.
Submarine or whale.
So, well, it had propellers on it, so I guess it would be a submarine.
Yeah.
Not a whale.
That'd be a futuristic whale.
Well,
Whale.
oh. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool fight between them, and obviously I like the idea of him, like, he takes him up to the surface to try and like fight him on his turf, because earlier they fought on his turf, the other guy, Orm.
Yeah.
Just
Norm.
quickly Orm. Just quickly mentioned also on the subject of comic booky costumes, the costume that he wears at the end, like as Ocean Master, particularly his helmet, is like straight out of the comics, so I appreciate that. And like I love that they just like threw all like logic out of the window, because like it's clearly like a metal helmet, but his like when he moved his mouth, it would like move with him, and like his eyes like expressed as well. Like they just didn't care. They were just like, let's just make it, which because like in the
If
comics,
it looks cool, it looks cool.
yeah, and like they always do that in the comics, like with the R, like eyes always express even when they literally shouldn't be able to in the comics, because like what they do is like Spider-Man and stuff. So
Deadpool.
that's cool. That exactly. So that's cool that they did that, and yeah, Arthur wins at the end, and then Mom comes back.
Surprise.
And then that's basically the end of the film. Really, we have a nice moment where he's finally validated for walking at the end of that pier every day, because she finally comes back.
After 40 years.
I will admit, I did tear up a little bit when they are reunited.
Really?
And yeah, yep. And it's a nice happy ending. Arthur is king. He does a little monologue at the end.
Arthur has achieved what he didn't want to achieve. So
yeah,
good.
Exactly.
So
I love it because it ends with a little monologue, and he finishes the film by saying, "I am Aquaman," and there's like a freeze frame where he jumps out of the ocean. And I just, again, his like theme was probably playing, so like when that ended, I was just like, hell yes.
Really?
Genuinely, when the film ended, I was like, yeah. Like,
thank God it's over.
No, not celebrating the film ending, but I was so pumped. I love this film so much.
Jesus. Well, I don't share the same relationship to it as you, because obviously you watched it at a crucial time in your life, but I still enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch it again, but I'd watch a sequel.
Well, they are making one. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I'll watch it then.
If it made $1 billion, it's getting a sequel.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I'm under no illusion that this is like a great film or anything. I mean, all art is subjective, of course, but you know, there's definitely glaring issues in it. But I'm quite happy to just write them all off, because I have such a good time watching this, and it just brings me immense pleasure.
Fair enough. And yeah, I'd agree. It's fun. It's a fun time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah. A joke before I could. Well.
Sorry.
That's all right. What would you give it out of 42?
Oh, we're coming back to that rating
bringing
system.
it back. I know all the fans have been asking for it, so you know.
It's what are the numbers again?
You got 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
All right, well, it's got to be a solid, whatever the one before 42 is.
23.
Oh no, that's too low. 42 out of 42.
Okay, it's a flawless masterpiece then.
That's right.
I'll give it 23.
All right. Wow, that's pretty high.
Well, it's only 23 out of 42, isn't it?
That's a good point, actually. All right, well, that's that.
That is that. Now, you might remember last episode, we said that if anyone commented on our last, podcast, we'd read them out.
Yeah.
So we have a comment here. All right.
What? No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
I saw that there was a comment on it, but I couldn't read it.
Well, I can read it.
Oh, okay.
Very constructive, positive feedback. It's from DGHRTHGTYRGFDSF. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. We'll say DeJurf. And DeJurf says, goals-4-u.online. So thank you for that comment, DeJurf. Big shout out to you. Appreciate you watching the podcast.
Wait, what was the bit about very constructive? Was that just you saying
That's
that?
just a joke. That's, yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, man. That's hilarious. That's a coincidence?
Yeah, unless you did actually watch it. He didn't.
All right, well, Daniel, I thought you were going to talk about how for next week you were going to recommend something to me, because in last week's episode you did have a moment of an epiphany where you were like, yes, I'm going to. And when you had that, I was like, I know exactly what he's going to recommend to me. But please,
Well, since
take it away.
next week you're gonna watch because you said you knew when I said that.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Victoria.
That's, okay, well.
I couldn't
Sweet.
at the time remember. Like I knew it was like some woman's name. I was like, I was going through them in my head. I was like Elizabeth. Like, but yes, Victoria. Do you want to tell them a little bit more about that film because it's pretty
I'll be honest.
niche?
So Victoria is an absolute banger. Okay, it's I was gonna say it's a foreign film from a country. All in one shot. It's a one-shot film.
Wow.
Let me tell you, it's a good one.
Sounds like something I would love, according to you, because I love that shit.
You do love that shit. Yeah.
So.
Although it's not shit, it's good. So.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, we will. On the next week's episode of
this podcast.
Yeah.
Alright, let's wrap it up then.
Alright.
Okay.
That's your episode, so.
Follow us on.
Sorry. You go.
Follow us on Twitter at can'tbelieveyhs. Listen to us on Spotify or any of your podcasting apps. Post that RSS feed into your podcasting app so you can give us a listen.
Yeah.
Subscribe, obviously, on this, or not this, depending on what you're listening to. But if you're on YouTube, then subscribe, like, leave us a comment, do any of that stuff.
Leave us a comment and we'll read it out.
Yes.
Carry on.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been Daniel.
Okay, yep, I've been Daniel.
So bad at ending these off. It's always the same.